How's it going, Illumineers? It is Prashan here, and if you need a deck for those last week of set champs, I have one for you. Since my last video, I actually won a set champs with this deck, which is such an awesome feeling. I used to go like 2-0 and have to drop all the times because I had no chance, and then just seeing my progression to actually win a mat, two mats, right? I won one last set, and then this set. It's such a good feeling. I actually feel like sometimes if you see my name on that list, like I'm something to deal with, which is pretty cool. And then hopefully you guys can get there too if you're not already there. So we'll go over the deck. We'll talk about the cards a little bit. This is going to be more in depth compared to the first video I did. Maybe on this channel we'll start doing that. We'll go over a deck real quick if you just want to have something to plug and play, and then if you want to know the lines or know what I'm thinking against certain matchups, maybe we'll have a more advanced deck tech. If you guys like that type of stuff, make sure to like, subscribe, comment what you guys think of this. Do you think it's crap? Do you think it's good? Do you think I just got lucky? Let me know, and let me know what you guys are playing as well. I'd love playing new decks, seeing new decks, try new things out, of course, right? So let's take a look at the deck. We'll talk about some of the cards here and what they do, and then we'll go over and talk about hands. So I'll talk about my mulligans and what I would mulligan or throw away or keep going into certain matchups, and that should be it. That way you guys have a little bit more of a scope, and hopefully this helps you win a few more games. So let's go into the deck. We have Diablo, 3 Diablo, 4 Captain Hook, 3 Christopher Robin, 2 Black Heron, 3 Calhouns, 3 Docks, 4 Cheshire Cats, 4 Giant Cobras, 2 Binges, 2 Lexingtons, 3 Genies, 2 Isis, 2 Queens, 2 Tigers, 3 Gizmas, 4 Elsas, 4 Hades, 2 Marshmallows, 2 Plutos, 4 Demonas, and 4 Strength of a Raging Fire. So, to be honest, after my last set champs that I played, um, being transparent, I've played in 4 set champs. I've gotten 4 Tinkerbells. I made top cut in 3 of the 4 set champs that I played in. And I played in 1 yesterday. I feel like I should have had some more, I guess, damage, right? I think Fire the Cannons is a good card you could put in here, and Thunderbolt is 2. I feel like Fire the Cannons 2 might help out a little bit, especially if someone's playing Amber Steel and they have like Rhino or Angel out early. Fire the Cannons could help. I think you could probably take out Lexington or the Queen. And then if you don't feel like you're going to see dogs at all, Benja could be taken out too. This deck is 62 cards. I feel like I was getting enough draw where I was going through cards too, and plus like you're ditching cards too with Giant Cobra, and sometimes you ditch cards with Doc. So sometimes I would play Doc. I would ditch 1 card to draw 2. That way I had like that card advantage or cycle through cards. So yeah, you could plug and play and change this as any way you want. But we have Diablo here. Diablo's a good turn 1 card. I typically play him and I get a few lore out of Diablo, right? Because sometimes they don't want you to draw that early. Some players would knock him out early, you get that card draw, and then hopefully you get that advantage. Or some players just let him sit, right? Because you could play Captain Hook after on turn 2, and basically if they go into your Diablo, you go Captain Hook into one of their cards, and you get the card draw, at least for the Diablo, and they lose 1 card. Even though you lose 2, it's fine. Christopher Robin is really good too as an underdog. You could play him on 1, and he quests for 2. A 2 quester is pretty good, especially early game. You could probably get away with like 2 to 4 lore early game. Black Heron is in here. I feel like sometimes she could be taken out. That's why there's only like 2 of. She's a good stats for 2, just in case I brick and I don't get a Christopher Robin, or if I don't get like a Calhoun. That's a card that's just there, and it's inkable too. Sometimes it's just ink That way you play something else. And of course, Calhoun. So we have Calhoun and Diablo 2. This is another thing I like to go into too. Play Diablo on 1, and then you play Calhoun on 2. That way it forces them to make decisions. Most of the time, I want to try to make my opponent make a lot of decisions in our matchup because sometimes like I just want to have that skill where hopefully I make more better decisions than they do. And then of course we have Doc. This is something you don't want to see in your opening hand at all. Typically, if I have like a Doc Giant Cobra, I'm gonna ditch the Doc for the Giant Cobra to gain 2 lore. Typically, that's the way I go. And then we have Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat is a very good card in this deck, especially since we have a lot of big bodies, especially in our mid game and later game, where it takes your opponent at least 2 times or 2 characters to swing in them. Your early game, it's fine, you're trading and all that, but as soon as you get to Giant Cobra and beyond, they're tough outs for the most part. And then of course, Giant Cobra, this card helps out a ton and can win you the game when you're at 18 and there's nothing else for you to do. You play Giant Cobra, ditch another card, gain 2 lore, puts you over the top. So that's why there's 4 of Giant Cobra, and of course Cheshire Cat's so good, and that's where there's 4 of. And then Binja is here for item hate. I was saying dogs. Saw a few burn decks with the Chromacon, just trying to bounce things back. Binja gets rid of that, right? And then Enigmatic Inkcaster gets rid of that. So those items that, I don't know, help out a ton are pretty good. Benja's just here to get rid of them. And then Lexington is good stats, good body, but I felt like I was inking him a lot, especially if you get him on curve. You have tons of cards in your hand. So basically, he might be able to swing into something once, and then he stays tapped. So this is something I might switch out or change out for just straight up damage. In the future, I might try to update this a little bit more. And then next year we have Genie. I believe, yes, I have 3 of in this deck, or 4 of. I might have changed it to 4 of. This is just a good card, evasive, 4 evasives. I saw a lot of Pegasus in burn decks. So the fact that, like, I guess they snuck off a few quick lore on me, but turn 4, I'm playing my Genie to go into him. And of course, I have Elsa. Those are the only 2 evasives I have in this deck. And then I have Isis Vanderchill, just in case you have those stalemates, right? If you have a stalemate and they don't want to tap their characters, then or exert their characters, then you have like Isis to force them to do things that they don't want to do. And then we have the Queen. The Queen is here for some spice, right? Playing against dogs, the Lilos, the zombie Lilos, Amber Steel, zombie Lilos. You basically use the Queen to bury those cards at the bottom of their deck, and you gain lore in the process. And the fact that she's a 4/3 body, it forces your opponent to try to get rid of her quickly or answer her quickly. And then if you have Cheshire Cat on the board too, it can be pretty interesting. They're gonna have to run 2 characters into her on 1 turn. And then next we have Tigger. Tigger is pretty good here too. Just in case you have like damage on something small and you don't have a way to remove it, you can bounce it back. Or if you have like a Giant Cobra in your hand and you want to bounce back something small, you can play something, ditch it like towards the end of the game. Or you can bounce back Doc. Bounce back your Doc, empty out your hand, play a Doc, draw more cards. And of course, bouncing back other things on the opponent's side that you don't want to see. Like there's a time I bounced back Cursed Merfolk. It was a card like I didn't really feel like discarding at the moment. My opponent just played it, so I just wanted him to waste a turn, and I bounced it back to the end. And then next here we have Yzma. Yzma is pretty clutch in my opinion. I feel like it's another card that your opponent has to answer right away. This card could be replaced with Dumbo, but we don't have that many evasives. We have Genie and Elsa, and that's pretty much it. So, and another thing too, I only have 1 Dumbo. For some odd reason, I only have 1 Dumbo, and I felt like Yzma last set was a better option, but no one wanted to touch it, right? Because Dumbo was so good. but I feel like Yzma's pretty good. Like she came in pretty clutch, especially when you have two on the board. So you play cards, right? You get your hand down to one, or you basically play. Yeah, if you start the turn and you only have like two cards in hand, you ink a card, play a card, tap one Yzma, draw three, and then you play more cards. If you have another Yzma, you could tap. And then if you have like strength of the rate, if you get lucky and pull like a strength, you could sing it. Like that's such a cool line you could do, and such a good catch up mechanic too. Because like if it's late game, you draw with Yzma, you could play like another Diablo, another Hook, another Christopher Robin, some of your smaller stuff. And then next here we have Elsa. So this is another card too that forces opponent to tap, and she could swing into it, and she's evasive. So that's very clutch. That's where there's four of, because you definitely need that. And then next here we have Hades. So Hades is a card too where I have four of because I want to get rid of things or I want to draw. So that's another clutch card too where they're like, oh, it's okay, you could draw. Or I'm not gonna get rid of my Cheshire. It's okay, you could draw, especially going into the mirror. And then next here we have Marshmallow. Marshmallow is definitely an MVP of this deck. I feel like I always want to play like Marshmallow on 5, and then on turn 6, you play your Demona, you quest with Marshmallow. If they have a wide board, they can only exert one character, which is very, very bad, especially if they're playing aggro, if they're playing dogs. I made this deck specifically to play against dogs, even though I've only played against dogs maybe 3 or 4 times this set champs. I feel like people are going away from that, even though it's like supposedly the best deck. But I say Lorcana is rock, paper, scissors, and this is pretty much the scissors to dog's paper. And then next, Pluto. Pluto's here for some item hate. It pairs well with the Marshmallow, the Demona, and all of your steel characters, especially like Black Heron, Calhoun, Giant Cobra. And with Calhoun, you could gain 4 lore off of like Pluto and the Calhoun combo alone, which is amazing. There was turns I basically got like 8 lore from doing this combo. And then of course Demona, you try to get your hand as low as possible, or you try to play her when your opponent already has 3 cards. That way you can get that card draw advantage. And of course we have Strength of a Raging Fire. I feel like I probably need more damage in this deck overall. Like I mentioned before, Fire the Cannons, Thunderbolt. So yeah, that's it for this. Just going over card by card, and then we'll go over some of the matchups, and we'll talk about, I guess, what my mulligans would be going into like certain matchups, right? So yeah, enough of me rambling. Let's look at some hands. All right, so let's check out some hands here. We're gonna, I guess, be on the draw or a new game. We're gonna go to a new game here, and let's say we're playing against dogs first round. What am I gonna try to mulligan into? Let's see what we get. All right, so in our opening hand we have Elsa, Calhoun, Strength, another Elsa, Yzma, Demona, Giant Cobra. So I obviously want to keep Calhoun. That's something I want to keep. I really don't want Elsa. I really don't want Demona that early. And then I guess I'll keep Strength just in case. We'll keep Yzma for card draw because I think that's our curve. So I feel like it'll be, I'm looking for a 1. I have my 2. I have my 3. I have my 4. I might want to get rid of Strength 2 just in case they're playing Mowgli. So I want to get rid of 4 and hope for the best here. So bang. So we get lucky, pretty lucky. So we have Captain Hook on 1. We have our Calhoun on 2. We have our Cheshire or Giant Cobra on 3. And we have our Yzma on 4. And our Pluto on 5. And then on turn 6, we could follow that up with a Calhoun to get rid of an item because of the Pluto. So I feel like this is a perfect hand against dogs, in my honest opinion. And you can always refill with Yzma, or you can Yink Yzma if need be, right? So let's try this again against dogs, because I feel like that was super lucky. All right. So we have Doc, Cheshire Cat, the Queen, Lexington, another Queen, another Lexington, and another Doc. So we definitely do not want to see Doc this early against dogs. I think Cheshire Cat is a pretty good card to have. The Queen is very good too, just in case they have like Lilos and stuff. If they're trying to play Bobby Zumaruski and trying to discard, it definitely helps against like Lady too, right? So I think we're gonna get rid of these and hope that we could get some smaller cards in the process. And let's see what we get. So bad. This is bad. This is not what I want to see, because we have nothing on turn 1. So I would have to ink the Elsa. Turn 2 is a feel bad. We might have to play Doc just to have some presence on the board. Turn 3, of course, Cheshire Cat. Turn 4 is, you have plenty of options. It's a toss up here. You could go the Queen, Yzma, or Genie, just depending. To be honest, I might ink the Queen and play Yzma, and then next turn play Genie and draw and go from there. And hopefully you could catch up with Yzma with the card draw. And let's try this again one more time with against dogs. All right, so this is pretty good, almost perfect, right? So we have Benja, Tigger, Diablo, Strength of a Raging Fire, Calhoun, Giant Cobra, Black Heron, right? So we have our Calhoun for turn 2. We have the Diablo Calhoun combo, so we go Diablo Calhoun, and depending on what you see on the board, you could go Giant Cobra and ditch maybe a Black Heron on 3. And then on turn 4, you can play Tigger and bounce something back. If they play an item, of course, you're going to play Benja as soon as you can. So, yeah, I think this is very, very good. A very good hand here. So let's talk about if we go against something more controlling. If we go against Baja, or if we go against Blurple. So let's do this here. All right. So Baja, Blurple. We're basically going to get rid of everything that costs more than 3. And yeah, that's not that good, but if we're on the play, this is horrible. If we're on the draw, this might be good, because you could play Christopher Robin, Calhoun, Cheshire. You could probably try to bounce something of theirs with your Tigger, or play the Queen, depending on what they're doing. And then you play Elsa, Demona. So it's not that bad. You're playing on curve, which sometimes is fine against those decks. But most of the time, you want to go more aggro and try to play a lot of 1 and 2 drops to get quick lore in the beginning. So let's try it again. So this is on the draw. So we got Diablo, we got Doc. So I don't want to see Doc. And we don't want to see anything over 4, in my opinion. And there we go. I feel like this is a little bit better. Diablo, Giant Cobra, Black Heron. Like, this feels better going into your Demona, right? Hopefully they have more cards in their hand. So just play out as many cards as you can. Demona, re-up, go again. So I feel like this is a better hand. It still doesn't feel as good because you don't have like your Captain Hook. I would rather see a Captain Hook instead of Diablo. At least one Captain Hook or a Calhoun here. But we could probably make this work. And let's say we're going against what else is there out there? We'll talk about the mirror. Let's go against the mirror. So this is my draw against the mirror. I feel like against the mirror, I want to try to go as aggro as possible as well, or on curve as much as possible. So I feel like we have to throw away this whole hand, except for maybe Giant Cobra. We'll keep the Giant Cobra. Even though this might feel bad too, because I could probably play like Fire the Cannons and get rid of it, but we'll test our luck. And this is a little bit better. Nothing on 1, which feels bad. But on 2, we'll play Calhoun. On 3, Giant Cobra. 4, we have options. We could go the Queen or Tigger. We could bounce something back on their end. And then, of course, turn 5, Elsa. And let's try the mirror one more time. So we have Elsa, Genie, Elsa, Diablo, Cheshire, Demona, Calhoun. So this is almost pretty good, right? So we could go Diablo on 1, Calhoun on 2, Cheshire on 3, Genie on 4, and then Elsa on 5. But I don't want too many Elsas. So we'll get rid of Elsa. We'll get rid of Demona. And we get a Pluto and Isis. So I think this is a pretty respectable like opening hand against the mirror. So yeah. Hopefully that gives you more insight. Hopefully I helped you guys. Let me know down in the comments what I can do better, what I did good. Because we're starting, we're workshopping. This is my thoughts on how I would go about it. So yeah, this is it for this video. What do you guys think about this deck? Again, what are you guys playing? What do you guys want to see me talk about on this channel? And until next time, peace.